So, you're a UX designer. You want to climb up that corporate ladder. You want to start telling others what to do while you sit back and sip your frappuccino. You want to stop spending hours and hours staring at the screen, looking at wireframes and design components just to have your manager tell you to redo the prototype or that the client wants to take it in a different direction. Maybe it's time for you to look for a new job, a new company, and work in a place where they will value your expert creative brain. You try to update your resume with some of these latest catchy buzzwords that all the cool HR Karens are using these days. You connect with recruiters on LinkedIn, start applying, and wait. Nothing happens. You do it over and over, but still nothing happens. You have great experience, but why isn't your profile being seen by anyone? You apply and apply only to find out that your mailbox is now filled with submission and rejection emails back to back. This keeps going on for months and months. So you look for these resume builder tools that promise to push it to the top of the recruiting cesspool. You waste your money on LinkedIn Premium. You watch a few YouTube videos or maybe even pay someone to write your resume. And if you're working with Indian consultancies, then good luck because they're going to diss your resume so hard and force you to include fake work experiences of 10 plus years, even though you're probably just a 21-year-old who can only grow a neck beard. Fear not, my friend. Life is difficult, but I'm here to guide you. Resumes don't have to be this complicated. You don't deserve all this misinformation that is being fed to you. You don't need some YouTuber who's trying to sell you his dumb course on resume writing or career building. So, without wasting any further time, let's just get into it. Here's the no bullshit guide to writing a UX resume. Just a quick disclaimer before we begin. This resume alone will not get you the job. This is just going to be one of the factors involved in the whole job search phase. And yes, we have to tailor our resume for every single job that we're applying, but I'll cover that in a different video. So one of the biggest mistakes that you're probably making is that your resume is not compliant with the ATS format, which is the application tracking system format. And I know as a UX designer, you have a super creative outlook towards everything in life. I get it. But you don't need to use formats like this, or look for videos like this resume got me into Facebook or some shit like that. It's very simple to make a resume that is compliant with most ATS software, and let's do it step by step without wasting a single dime. Open up an empty Google Docs page, and first thing you're going to do is go to File and Page Setup and change these values to 0.5 inches just so that we're able to fit everything into one page. And one page is actually all you need. You don't need more than that. And if you're someone who has maybe more years of experience, then probably 2 pages is enough, but let's not stretch it more than that. Type in your name, center align it, make the font bigger, maybe like 20 pixels or something. And below it, you're going to put your location, phone number, email ID, LinkedIn, and portfolio. We'll add links to these last two in the very end. Next, you're going to write down your title in big bold letters. With UX, the problem is that there are so many titles out there like designer, engineer, product designer, UX writer, whatever. And all these things kind of mean the same thing, just with minor differences in responsibilities here and there. So this doesn't necessarily have to be the title that you have currently, but it could be the one that you're targeting. And then below it, you're going to write 3 keywords that are related to your career. These are going to be very important, so write them carefully. Because when a recruiter or a hiring manager is going to look at your resume, they will not have the patience to go through all the bullet points of the content that you have put in here. And most often the recruiters don't even have any technical knowledge regarding UX, and they don't have any clue as to what a UX designer would be doing. So this title and these 3 keywords will give them all the information that they need. And these keywords can be something like user research, UI prototyping, wireframing. Next, we'll be writing a short summary of your career and your strong points. Keep this to just 2 sentences and make it kind of attention grabbing. First line can be sort of like a hook to the reader. What exactly makes you special as a UX designer? And if you're having trouble with this, use ChatGPT to help you. Start with a prompt like this. You are an expert resume writer with over 20 years of experience. So this is where we are telling ChatGPT what role it should be playing. Followed by, I'm a UX designer with 5 years of experience in creating wireframes, prototypes, conducting user interviews, and designing end-to-end experiences for B2B and B2C companies. So this is where you're describing who you are, what's your job title, how many years of experience you have, and what are some of the key skills you possess, and who you have worked for or which industry that you have worked for so far. Based on this information, write an attention-grabbing introduction to my resume. In your answer, describe how I add value to companies, Use my skills as an example and show results. Use present continuous tense and keep your response under 60 words. And of course, this output is not going to be super perfect, but you'll probably have to mess around with it a little bit. The idea here is that the first sentence should be talking about a value that you'll be adding to the companies, and then the second sentence is describing how you're going to do that. And that's all you need. So now comes the work experience. And I know a lot of people will start arguing by saying, oh, you're supposed to put the skill section at the top and list down all of the tools that you have used because recruiters will see those first. And yeah, we have already put those top 3 skills up there, and that's sufficient. We don't need to list every single tool that you have used because, like I said, people don't have the patience to read through all of it. So we are just highlighting the most important ones at the very top. So anyway, under the work experience, we are going to go chronologically backward. So put your most recent job here, the company name, location, month, year to present, and the role. Let's say you got laid off in August and you're applying in September. Still keep the last month as present. But you might say, but isn't this unethical to lie on your resume? I don't care. Just listen to me and do it. Under the role, you're going to write 1-sentence summary of what you did for this company. Now, don't use random shit words like
maximized creative output by incorporating a cohesive strategy for business partners.
That doesn't make any sense. The purpose of this sentence is to convey what was the exact result that you have brought to the company. Or it could just be like a high-level description of what the main project was during your time here. You can write something like building a C2C solution that connects warehouse distributors with local vendors to reduce the amount of friction cost when placing, maintaining, and tracking product orders. So here you're kind of describing what the solution is, who the main persons are, who are we solutioning for, what are their pain points, and what is the outcome of this. So next, below this, you're going to write maybe 3 or 4 bullet points. That's it. You don't need more. And the most common mistake that happens here is with the star format. And they often write it something like
collaborated with multifunctional and international teams for improvements of the e-commerce user experience using Jira, troubleshooting technical issues, and resulted in understanding real user needs.
So yeah, this sentence is pretty shit. Yeah, sure, it follows the star method, but that's not the point. And here's how you actually write effective bullet points. Try to frame it in a way that it starts out with you performing an action. And keep it simple. And don't use mind-numbing dumb verbs like spearheaded, synergized, or hyper-localized, or some garbage like that. And then it's followed by who or what the activity was related to. And next comes the immediate result. And finally, show the overall impact that this action has caused to the entire project. So let's take that previous sentence and try to fix it. Remove all the shitty buzzwords like collaboration, multifunctional, etc., and we can rewrite that same bullet point something like this. Conducted user interviews with vendors and store owners to determine their pain points when ordering products from the company's internal website. So look at that first sentence. Conducted user interviews. So that was your main action with vendors and store owners. So they were your key personas. 2. Determine their pain points when ordering products from the company's internal website. So that was their exact problem statement that the users were facing. So now what was the net result? Which is gathered users' feedback to discover insights and usability scores from the interviews. So that was your net result from all of this activity. So that's how you kind of frame an effective bullet point. And here's a bonus tip. If you can manage to add some metrics in here, like say for example, if you're trying to specify how many interviews you have conducted, that would be really helpful because the human mind somehow gets drawn towards numbers and figures. And when somebody's reading this resume, they'll probably just go to the bullet points that has these numbers displayed first. But a lot of people, including myself, have made the mistake of throwing in some random numbers like increased overall productivity by 23% or something like that. See, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So try to think of genuine figures that impacted your work, like the number of interviews that you have conducted or the net promoter scores that you have received from those interviews, the number of data points or the sticky notes that you have gathered, average pain scores that you have heard, value proposition, dollar figures, so on and so forth. It's as simple as that. I know a lot of us want to describe our work, so we automatically gravitate towards phrases like improved overall user experience by or proactively participated in brainstorming exercise or something like that. And we are fed this nonsense advice that we need to match every single keyword from the job posting to your resume. So you just go crazy trying to throw in all of these cliched buzzwords all over your stuff. So, in a nutshell, show but don't tell. Describe how you improve the user experience and not just throw those words around. Follow the same method and write maybe 2 or 3 bullet points, and that's it. You don't have to exceed this. And you're going to rinse and repeat this process for every single company that you have worked for. After you have finished writing the experience section, list down the education. Keep it simple here as well. And a lot of people shove so much of information here, like the papers that they have wrote in college, or how much GPA that they got, or that one hackathon that they participated in, or how they expertly organized and coordinated the event TechSuck 2K16 where they facilitated interactions with participants. Name of the university, location, type of degree, your major, month and year of graduation. Nothing more is needed. The last section is for professional skills, and let me be honest, nobody really gives a shit about this section either. But still, people like to write every single tool that they have heard of. And see, I get it, you want to look techie and cool, but let's try to not go overboard here. And as a UX designer, you'll probably split these skills into few bullet points. The first one being the design tools that you use for wireframing and collaboration, and these could be Figma, InVision, Miro, etc. Then you can specify some project management tools that you're familiar with, like Jira, Asana, and all of that. Third one can be about data analytics. Sometimes you may have to look through large amounts of tables and look for patterns. Tableau or Power BI can be good examples to be listed here. And finally, write down any front-end dev experience such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc. Now, you might say that you don't have experience in any of these and you may be only using 2 or 3 softwares. I get it. This section is okay to bullshit a little bit because most often recruiters themselves have no idea as to what these tools would do. They'll just look for the top keywords that their hiring manager gave them and try to match the resumes. Because let's say even during an interview process or when you get hired, nobody's going to say, oh, so you specified that you know how to use JavaScript in your resume. So let's see how you answer this super technical question related to it. At the end of the day, the resume is just going to help you cut through the noise and you're going to do the rest of the talking during the interview and explain yourself. Some of the final finishing touches here. Under every section, you can add a line, and to do that, go to Format, Paragraph Styles, Borders and Shading, and select the bottom line. Have the top title and section names to be bold and you can choose to color them if you want. Select the text where it says LinkedIn, right click and select Insert Link. And now put in your LinkedIn profile link over here. Do the same thing for your portfolio as well. And one tip about the overall language of the resume is that try to write the introductory sentence in the present continuous tense, because you're essentially talking about what your career goals are currently, and then the work experience can be written in a past tense with words like developed rather than developing. This is just a best practice in my opinion. Now forget all the resume scanners and those shitty services that are just trying to grab money from you and who don't even provide any value to you. Let me give you a list of keywords that actually matter when you're applying to jobs as a UX designer. Accessibility testing. This is a process that's followed to make sure that the designs are meeting certain standards and guidelines for users with disabilities. Competitive market research. This is analyzing who our company's top competitors are, what exactly are they doing that we are not doing, and why is their product being better than ours. Customer journey map. It's a diagram that shows typical actions of a user from start to finish. It also consists of what major difficulties they're facing at every single instance. Data synthesis. This is a core UX collaboration activity that is conducted to extract information from a bunch of data that has been captured by speaking to the users. In this, you'll be trying to find common themes among quotes, insights, and some feature requests that you get from the users and sort of cluster them into groups. Design systems. Every company usually has their own brand identity, and design systems consist of design components which are like headers, footers, icons, pages, etc. And when you're creating some screens, you can just drag them drop here to save the time. Design thinking. This is a framework or a process that is followed by the UX designer to discover what exactly is the underlying issue that the user is facing. Check out my video on the no bullshit guide to UX design thinking that I've made and you'll get a much better understanding on this topic. Desirability. This is usually a score between 1 to 5 that represents how much the users want the solution that you're creating. Expert interviews. The sessions you conduct with the key users to find out more information about what they like, what they don't like, what are their expectations and all that stuff. Feasibility. This is also a score between 1 to 5 that shows how conveniently can the company execute this solution. Insights. The things that you discover after conducting user interviews. Based on these, the interview questions or the strategy might be redone. Iterative testing. It's a repetitive process of analyzing a problem by going back to the key users and asking their opinions to change some aspects of the design until they're happy. Pain points. All the troubles that the users are facing in their day-to-day life in the context of your project. Pixel perfect wireframes. High quality screens that are almost ready to be built and deployed. Or in other words, the cause of your nightmares. Product roadmap. An overall vision of your project where it talks about how it looks like today, how it will look like in the immediate future, and how it will look like in the very distant future. Usually, this consists of revenue projections and a list of features. User testing. The process of showing your solution to the targeted personas of the project to get their feedback. The goal of this is to get some ratings and scores on the solution that you're proposing. Value proposition. What benefit is your solution providing to the company and the user? Sometimes this is expressed as a dollar figure, sometimes it can be a rating out of 10, and it kind of really depends on the context. So that's it. That's been the no bullshit guide to writing a UX resume. Now get back on LinkedIn, find that job posting, hit apply, and just wait until the hiring manager starts frothing at their mouths after discovering your GigaChat level profile. See you in the next one.